I'm going to show you how to work out the problems on this Solve These Equations worksheet. Okay? So up here's two examples like we've done in class. I've shown you in class that you need to start off by building the equation and then work your way back up using inverse operations. Alright? So for this first one right here, when you're building your equation, they start with the variable, and then from there they multiplied that variable by -3, and then after that they added 17. Okay? So you want to go down this little ladder pretty quickly just by building it, and then when you go back up the ladder, that's when we kind of slow down. And here's what I mean by that. So the inverse operation of add is to subtract, so you're going to subtract 17, and you're going to do that to both sides. Notice that I didn't go back up really quick and do the opposite of this. What you need to do is you need to write down subtract 17 and write it right up here back to that equation. So subtract 17 from this side, and then also on the other side of the equal sign. Okay? 17 subtract 17, that's 0, and I want you to write the 0 right through it. Not underneath it, because that can mess you up later on. Okay? And then 2 subtract 17, that's -15. What you'll do next is bring everything that's left down. So the equal sign is still there. That plus 17 is gone, but that -3 times x is still there. So bring that down. Now that you've rewritten it, now you can go back up that little old ladder and do inverse operations. So the opposite of multiply is to divide. So you're going to divide by -3 and make sure to do it to both sides of that equal sign. So here's one side of the equal sign where we divide by 3, and then on the other side, divide by 3. -3 divided by -3 is 1. 1 multiplied by x is 1x, or you could just write just 1x like that, because there's only 1x right there. And then a negative divided by a negative is a positive, so -15 divided by -3 is a +5. To check your answer, what you should do, like on a quiz or a test, what you would do to check your answer is you would substitute this value of x wherever you see x. So if I put a 5 right there, someone would say, oh, Mrs. Hopkins, that's -35. That is incorrect. What you need to recall is there's this -3 times that x. So when you substitute that 5 back in for the variable, it's the same thing. It means multiply. So -3 times +5 is -15. And then you're going to add to it 17. Okay? So -15 plus 17, this value right here is +2. So this side right here, after I've substituted that 5, it equals 2. And I know this is correct because 2 does equal 2. When I substitute that 5 in there, this side equals 2, this side equals 2. Since 2 does equal 2, that is correct. An example of what it would look like if it was wrong, let's say I substituted this 5 in here, and when I substituted it in, this side equaled 28 or something like that. If this side equaled 28 and this side equaled 2, I know that there's something that I messed up on. Either my answer is incorrect or I must have done some incorrect operations in here. Because the definition of an equation basically is both sides of the equal sign would be true. So when you solve for that variable, when you substitute it in, you want both sides to equal the same thing. This case, this answer is correct. X is equal to 5 because this side equals 2 and this side equals 2. Okay? Now don't worry, I won't go into that much detail for the rest of the problems, but I just wanted to review that to make sure you recall. Okay, next one. Let's go ahead and build it. Start with x, then they multiplied it by -4. Make sure you include that multiply and that negative, okay? And then after that, to build this equation, they had added 6. Okay, the inverse operation of +6 is subtract 6, so do that to both sides of that equal sign. 6 take away 6 is 0. -10 minus 6 is -16. Bring down your -4x. Okay, the inverse operation of multiply is to divide, so we're going to divide by -4 on both sides of that equal sign. -4 divided by -4 is 1. 1 times x is 1x, and there's only 1x right there. A negative divided by negative is positive, so -16 divided by -4 is +4. If you would substitute it, it would totally equal -10. Okay, build this one. Start with x, multiply it by -5, then they subtracted 18. Inverse operation of subtract 18 is to add 18. So you add 18 to both sides of that equal sign. -18 plus 18 is 0. -3 plus 18 is a +15. Bring down your -5 times x. Okay, the inverse operation of multiply by -5 is to divide by -5. So that's what we're going to do to both sides of that equal sign. Negative 5 divided by negative 5 is 1. 1 times x is 1x, or just x like that. A positive divided by a negative is going to be a negative, so positive 15 divided by negative 5 is negative 3. Build this equation. They started with x, then they multiplied it by a positive 2, and then they subtracted 9. Okay, inverse operation of subtract 9 is to add 9. Do that to both sides of that equal sign. Negative 9 plus 9 is 0. Negative 21 plus 9 is negative 12. Bring everything else down. That was a positive 2. Oops. That was a positive 2x, so bring that down. Sorry about that. Now, the inverse operation of multiply by 2 is to divide by 2. So divide by 2, divide by 2. 2 divided by 2 is 1. 1 times x is x. Negative divided by positive is a negative, so negative 12 divided by positive 2 is negative 6. Okay, they started with x when they built this equation, then they multiplied it by negative 7, and then after that they added 42. Inverse operation of adding 42 is to subtract 42. Do that to both sides of the equal sign. 42 subtract 42 is 0. 0 subtract 42 is negative 42. Bring down your equal sign. Bring down your negative 7x, because that's still there. Now go back up that little ladder. Opposite of multiply is to divide, so we're going to divide both sides by negative 7. Keep the same number, give me the inverse operation of what this operation is. So opposite of multiply is to divide, but keep that negative 7. Negative 7 divided by negative 7 is 1. 1 times x is 1x. There's 1x right there. A negative divided by negative is a positive, so negative 42 divided by negative 7 is a positive 6. Okay, build this one. They started with x, and then they multiplied it by a positive 9. And then, that's a positive 12, they added 12. Inverse operation of adding 12 is to subtract 12, and do that to both sides of that equal sign. 12 take away 12 is 0. Negative 60 subtract 12 is negative 72. Bring down your equal sign and that positive 9x. Okay, now go back up the ladder. The inverse operation of multiply is to divide. So we're going to divide both sides by 9. 9 divided by 9 is 1. 1 times x is 1x. Negative divided by a positive is a negative. So negative 72 divided by positive 9 is negative 8. Okay, this next problem. Please remember to pause the video periodically. This is one that you should probably try on your own, so pause the video. Here's how you do it. They started with x when they built this equation, then they multiplied it by 5, and then they subtracted 70. Inverse operation of subtracting is to add, so we're going to add 70 to both sides of that equal sign. Negative 70 plus 70 is 0. Negative 20 plus 70 is 50. Bring down your equal sign, bring down your positive 5x. Inverse operation of multiply by 5 is to divide by 5. So we're going to divide by 5 on both sides of that equal sign. 5 divided by 5 is 1. 1 times x is x, or 1x, same thing. 50 divided by 5 is 10. Okay, build this equation. Start with x. Then they multiplied it by negative 2. That means multiply. Then they subtracted 98. Inverse operation of subtract 98 is to add 98. So you're going to do that to both sides of that equal sign. Negative 98 plus 98 is 0. 2 plus 98 is 100. Bring down your equal sign. Bring down your negative 2x. Go back up the ladder. Inverse operation of multiply by negative 2 is to divide by negative 2. Do that to both sides of that equal sign. Negative 2 divided by negative 2 is 1. 1 times x is 1x, or x, same thing. 100 divided by negative 2, a positive divided by a negative is going to be a negative. So that is negative 50. Okay, this one might throw you off, but still try it. It's the exact same process. If it's confusing to you, erase that and put the equals 36 over there. You'll still get the same exact answer, but try it like this. So when they built this equation, they start with x, then they multiplied it by negative 4. Don't forget that multiply sign. And then after that, they added 56. The inverse operation of add 56 is to subtract 56. Do that to both sides of that equal sign. Okay? 56 take away 56 is 0. 36 take away 56 is negative 20. And that equals negative 4x. Now that you rewrote it, go back up the ladder. Inverse operation of multiply is to divide. So you're going to divide both sides by negative 4. Negative 4 divided by negative 4 is 1. 1 times x is x. Negative divided by negative is a positive, so negative 20 divided by negative 4 is positive 5. 5 equals x, or you could say x equals 5. Same thing. Because you know equations, when you have an equal sign, that means this side is equal to this side, okay? Next problem, 6 times x plus 12 is equal to 0. So let's figure out what the value of x is by building it. Start with x, then they multiplied it by 6, and then they added 12. The inverse operation of add 12 is to subtract 12, so do that to both sides of that equation. 12 take away 12 is 0. 0 take away 12 is negative 12. Bring down your equal sign and your 6x. Okay, inverse operation of multiply is to divide, so divide both sides by 6. 6 divided by 6 is 1. 1 times x is 1x. Negative 12 divided by positive 6 is going to be a negative 2, because negative divided by positive is a negative. Okay, try this one. Build it. We start with x, then they just added 38. So opposite of inverse operation of plus 38 is to subtract 38. Do that to both sides of that equation. 38 take away 38 is 0. 29 take away 38 is negative 9. Bring everything else down. That's the answer. X equals negative 9. So when you substitute this in, 38 plus a negative 9 does equal 29. Okay, this one, build it. Oh, they use the letter P to throw you off maybe. They started with P, then they multiplied it by 12, then they subtracted 48. Inverse operation of subtract is to add, so you're going to add 48 to both sides of that equation. Negative 48 plus 48 is 0. 0 plus 48 is 48. Bring down your equal sign, bring down the 12p. Inverse operation of multiply is to divide, so you're going to divide both sides by 12. 12 divided by 12 is 1. 1 times p is p. 48 divided by 12 is 4. So p equals 4 or 4 equals p, same thing. Build it. Start with p, then they multiplied it by negative 8. And then they added that 18. Oops. Okay, inverse operation of add 18 is to subtract 18. Do that to both sides of that equation. 18 subtract 18 is 0. So negative 30 minus 18 is negative 48. Bring down what's left. Bring down just the symbol in front of it, so negative 8p. And inverse operation of multiply by negative 8 is to divide by negative 8. So do that to both sides of that equation. Negative 8 divided by negative 8 is 1. 1 times p is p, or 1p, same thing. A negative divided by negative is a positive, so negative 48 divided by negative 8 is a positive 6. Okay, this went back down to x for the variable. So start with x, then they multiplied it by negative 6. And then they subtracted 66 to build the equation. Inverse operation of subtract 66 is to add 66. Do that to both sides of that equal sign. Negative 66 plus 66 is 0. 0 plus 66 is 66. Bring everything else down that's still there, like that negative 6x and the equal sign. Now go back up the ladder. The opposite of multiply by negative 6 is to divide by negative 6. So you're going to divide both sides by negative 6. Negative 6 divided by negative 6 is 1. 1 times x is 1x, or x. There's a 1x right there. Positive divided by negative is a negative, so 66 divided by negative 6 is a negative 11. Okay, let's build this one. They start with x, then they multiplied it by a negative 3, and then they subtracted 14. Okay, inverse operation to subtract 14 is to add 14. Do that to both sides of that equal sign. Negative 14 plus 14 is 0. Bring down, negative 2 plus 14 is 12. Bring down your equal sign, bring down your negative 3x. Go back up that ladder. Opposite, or the inverse operation of times by negative 3 is to divide by negative 3. So divide both sides by negative 3. Negative 3 divided by negative 3 is 1. 1 times x is x. And then 12 divided by negative 3, a positive divided by a negative is a negative. So that's going to be negative 4. Okay, if there's problems that you weren't really understanding, I recommend doing them again and practicing them until you understand them. Okay, bye.